Hello, everyone. Welcome to our collaboration between the Admission Office and the Office of Student Affairs. Today's session will all be about what the student experience is like at Pitzer, what are our reopening plans for this fall, what is orientation going to look like, what is first year seminar going to look like. Hopefully we'll be able to get all of your questions answered. If you missed our Tuesday session on social responsibility, we just made that recording available on our website. And then also a reminder for tomorrow's college co-pilot program. That one is geared more towards our parents, our incoming parents, but students feel free to join as well. We do have a faculty panel that I think students will really like. And if your parents have not been able to, or your family members have not been able to join you on a virtual tour of Pitzer yet, we also have a virtual campus tour tomorrow on top of our student panel. Today, during the webinar, you can use the Q&A box below to ask all of your questions for our student affairs staff. And on that note, I'm going to hand it off to Sandy, Kirsten, and Gabriella.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. We are so excited to join you here today. We have been waiting for this moment and wanted to introduce myself. I'm Sandy Vasquez. My pronouns are she, her, hers. I'm the Interim Vice President for Student Affairs, and I've been at Pitzer for approximately now 4 years.
Hi, everyone. Welcome. My name is Kirsten Carrier. I'm one of our Associate Deans of Students and the Director of Residence Life and Conference Services. I've been at Pitzer for almost 10 years now, and I use she, her pronouns.
Hello, everyone. So happy to have you all here. My name is Gabriella Tempestoso. I'm an Associate Dean of Students and Director of Academic Support Services, and I use she, her pronouns as well.
So today we're going to be talking about the following topics. We're going to be going over what the Office of Student Affairs is, our offices and staff, some of our highlighted initiatives. We're also going to talk about what we know is on everyone's minds, and that is, what is our Pitzer pathway forward as it relates to a return to campus planning. That will include topics around COVID-19 response, mindful of each other, our community agreement, and some of the fall trends that we've been seeing. And we also want to allow an opportunity for Q&A with all of you. So I wanted to share a little bit with you about what Student Affairs is. We believe at Pitzer, to live out our core values, it also must align with our co-curricular student life experience. And so our office is really comprised of different offices, which we'll talk about here shortly, that are dedicated to supporting students outside of the classroom, but also with academic support services. And that's really focused on the holistic student life experience, from student development and empowering students to be actively engaged in their own experience, to wellness initiatives and programs, and how you engage as a leader in and out of the classroom and beyond. And so it's really also about helping students to develop their skills, to develop as leaders and transformational catalysts for change. And so some of the offices that we wanted to just highlight for you all are the Dean of Students office, which you can expect to see that office as a service 24/7 to students that coordinates on-call and after-hour student support, which is accessible to students even during holidays and campus closures, and even during this time of COVID-19. We truly care and are here to support students and want to make sure that we're accessible to them for any crisis or emergency support reason that might emerge. We also coordinate our Dean of Students Emergency Fund. That is a fund that is completely comprised of donations to the college by members of our greater community and members of our community, including our faculty and staff and even our students, where all of the funding goes back directly to support students that need it most. We also oversee student conduct and community standards, the Center for Asian Pacific American Students, and our newly created one-stop student support center. I also want to highlight that we have Pomona Pitzer Athletics is also part of our team, which includes NCAA Division III athletics, club sports, health and wellness, PE courses, intramural and recreational sports, And a new athletic center is forthcoming, which we're really excited about. The other piece that makes the Claremont Colleges Consortium so special is our shared resources. As you can imagine, you probably read or heard from students, the experience that our students have where you can make friends not only at Pitzer, but also across the other sister campus colleges. And together we share resources for students, including student health services, Monsoor counseling and psychological services, our Student Disabilities and Resource Center, Health Education Office, Chicano Latino Student Affairs, Office of Black Student Affairs, chaplains, campus safety, the library, the bookstore, and also our Queer Resource Center. Gabriela is going to talk to you about Pitzer Academic Support Services and Career Services.
Yes, so our academic support services, along with our career services, are two of the areas where we really look at the holistic student. Certainly academic support, we provide for students who have disability or access accommodations. Our office works directly with those students to facilitate accommodations in the classroom, also in housing if that's something that students need. We work with students around academic support, which includes coaching and tutoring. We also have wellness programming, peer health educators. So it's, again, really looking at the student from a whole holistic perspective. Then as far as career services, certainly that's on everyone's mind now more than ever, right? So our career services is really a wonderful office. They work with students from the minute they arrive to campus all the way through even after graduation. They facilitate job shadowing, internships, all of the different pieces that students will need to figure out both what they would like to do career-wise if they haven't figured that out yet, and then also connecting students to alumni. We have a wonderful alumni connection with employers, and students usually take that advantage of that and have a wonderful experience. So just a little bit of highlights of those two offices.
I just wanted to highlight a little bit about residence life and conferences and campus life. Our two offices work really closely together, and we have already presented to admitted students on our co-curricular efforts to bring students together in different ways outside of the classroom for outside of the classroom class-based learning. So bringing hopefully all of our first years together for that great learning experience. In residence life specifically, we really aim to create that caring, living, learning community on campus. That's everything from our resident assistant staff who live on the floors to our housing processes, room changes, getting approval to live off campus and things like that. And I know the presentation you'll hear after this goes a little bit more into our housing process. So you'll hear about that. And then campus life is everything else you want to get involved with on campus, students, clubs and organizations, our wonderful student senate, and becoming, one of our, maybe our class reps for student senate. As soon as you step onto campus, our first years get involved in that. We have our Gold Student Center, which is also our health and wellness center and gym, and a great gathering space. Grove House, our identity-based organizations as well. And really great opportunities for you from, again, the moment you step on campus with orientation, and even before that, this year with some virtual orientation topics. Campus life is definitely there to help you get involved.
I did want to highlight for you all that we have been planning for a return to campus for over a year. And this planning in the true Pitzer spirit, as you probably have seen, was done in a manner that also engaged the shared governance COVID-19 task force, which also included student leaders who provided their voice and feedback. We will share with you that our planning will continue to respond to guidance from Los Angeles County Department of Public Health and the Center for Disease Control Prevention. For any of our health and safety protocols. We recognize and appreciate also your flexibility with any fluidity that might come with as we continue to evaluate and prepare for a return. What I can share with you is that there will not be a bubble on campus, meaning that you can come and go from other campuses and go to the other Claremont colleges, as well as to shared student service centers, which currently is not possible. However, I will make sure that you're aware that each campus, in order to ensure health and safety from a density of population perspective, will not be having cross-campus dining, which means that every campus will have their students eating at their own dining halls. We are working on preparing for to-go meal options for students to have more easy access to to-go, when you're on the run and wanting to plan to, hang out with a friend in the afternoon or in the evening, but maybe you just want to pick up your meal and take it with you. The colleges will have a united approach to vaccination and testing, which I'll talk a little bit more about here shortly. And please know that we will be sharing more information. We're actively working on launching a Pitzer Pathway Forward landing site, and we will provide all of our emerging updates on that page, and we will send it to you as soon as it's available. So I wanted to talk to you about vaccination. We are working closely with the Office of Admissions, when appropriate, to send communications to students once there is, the admission date has passed and we know who has accepted admission. But what students can anticipate is that all colleges are requiring a vaccination for students, including for students who are coming to us from international destinations. So students will be considered fully vaccinated after 2 weeks of receiving their second dose, or if they receive a single dose, that is another option. There will be exceptions for documented medical conditions or religious exceptions. And again, no need to try to worry about memorializing any of this. This will all be, information that will be made readily available. We are working for considerations for students, for example, who might be living outside of California, who may not be vaccinated before arrival to Pitzer and will need to get vaccination upon arrival. They will have to comply with weekly, twice a week COVID-19 testing and will continue until different guidance is issued. Out-of-state students who are not vaccinated before arriving to Pitzer will need to get vaccinated upon arrival and quarantine, per the guidance issued by the CDC, and also comply with 2 times per week COVID-19 testing. For students coming from international destinations, they are vaccinated, they will not need a quarantine upon arrival. If they are vaccinated, they will not need to quarantine. If they are not vaccinated, then they will need to arrive about 7 days early for quarantine purposes. And our COVID-19 testing will be facilitated by our student health services. And again, this is the beauty of one of those shared resource opportunities for all students to be able to access that we will help facilitate. And we strongly encourage all students to make sure that you are vaccinated prior to beginning your experience here at Pitzer. Gabriella will talk to us about contact tracing.
Contact tracing, as some of you may already know, is just the process of if in the event that someone has been infected with COVID-19, we will work with the individual, the student, faculty, staff, whomever that might be, to assess what the needs are as far as isolation and quarantine, which we'll also talk about in a moment, but make sure that whomever that individual has come into contact with, that we can then let those individuals know to make sure that they are aware that they have been in contact with someone who does have COVID-19 and therefore can get the appropriate testing needed, appropriate medical care should that be something that is necessary. Certainly if someone is vaccinated, then we would have a different protocol for that, but really trying to make sure that we keep everyone aware of all the different pieces so that we can keep everybody safe.
And just one more area to highlight would be our isolation housing, that we do plan to have designated spaces that are single rooms with a single bathroom for those who may need isolation if they are diagnosed positive for COVID. And that's a plan we've had in place again for a year now to make sure we have those facilities available. We'll also have quarantine capabilities, and we'll talk with students about that. And isolation housing does mean we have meals delivered, and we make sure students have access to their packages and care packages and activities as well. And so definitely something we want to make sure we support those students who might need to go through that experience. And I know we don't have it listed here exactly, but I wanted to reassure folks as well in terms of advanced cleaning protocols, advanced filtration in our air systems. It's something our facilities department has been very much attuned to and has been able to put in some improvements in those areas as well during this campus closure.
And Kristen and the Gabrielle and the team have been working so hard to prepare to make sure that any isolation or quarantine experiences for any student are as supportive and treated in the most caring manner and compassionate manner as possible. I did want to talk to you all about our community agreement. This was truly inspired by the community, mindful of each other. It has been our ethos during this entire time of COVID-19. And so as part of our, our social responsibility and community, we agreed together as students, faculty, and staff that united for any return, and even during the pandemic, we would all honor these guidelines. And so you would be joining a part of this collective community approach to honoring guidelines to keep each other safe and be mindful of each other. I did also want to highlight for you all some of the trends that you can anticipate that we've been preparing for. We will continue to evaluate and monitor the responsiveness to COVID-19, and that will need cooperation and flexibility from the community, but also we're looking to engage students and, having students also act as leaders in the community to help support each other through that process. We recognize that wellness and mental health will also be a priority, and so we're working to enhance support to students and to be prepared. This has not been an easy year. Not only have we navigated the pandemic, but as the most socially conscious campus at our sister campuses, we are deeply committed to racial justice initiatives and also initiatives against racial violence. And, I will share with you that in a return, these will be topics that will be discussed in and out of the classroom. There'll be opportunities for growth, for learning, and to engage in community action. I did want to share in terms of transitions, being mindful also that we have been working so hard and students have been making sacrifices, our faculty, our staff, really for everyone's well-being. And so a transition back to the community also involves that understanding that our faculty and staff are also going to be making that transition with you. We are preparing to onboard 2 cohorts of students. Last year's cohort didn't have an opportunity to experience an orientation experience here in person, and we're so excited to be able to come back and join together in community with you all. The other piece is community rebuilding. I can't share with you how excited our students and we are. We're already working with student leaders to plan for their early return because they are so eager and excited to meet all of you and to help integrate you and get you involved in student clubs and organizations.
Before we move into kind of the end where we want to take a bunch of your questions, hopefully we wanted to remind you of some of the great presentations coming up today. We didn't go too much into these topics because we want to make sure you stick around to hear our colleagues talk about everything related to housing, orientation, our first year seminars, all those first year support services we just started talking about. And then Sandy is available as well later today, as well as our director of Pomona Pitzer Athletics to take additional questions from you all.
I did have the first question, which is an excellent question. Do you think that masks will be required? Yes, I can share with you that I do believe that we will be continuing to plan to have them be required, especially as you can imagine, our commitment to help students get vaccinated who, I'm anticipating that everyone is going to honor their part to either get their vaccination before they arrive to Pitzer, or that they complete their documented, form for a medical condition or religious exception. However, there may be some of your peers that may need more time to get their vaccine. Until, we can say with full certainty that, we have reached that place where we feel confident in our levels of vaccination and ongoing, California state guidance, then we will loosen up our restrictions. But for now, please expect that in the fall, yes, we will be wearing masks.
In terms of the other question that's been asked right now about faculty and staff being required to be vaccinated, That's something that's an ongoing conversation, and some of our fellow Claremont colleges have come out with some requirements in regards to faculty and staff. It's something Pitzer is still looking at, but I know many of you know that our vaccines are currently under emergency use authorization, and I know folks are looking at that carefully to know whether or not we should be requiring or can require those who are employed at the college to have that vaccination. And you'll have seen the UC system and the Cal State system come out with the requirement, just I think it was yesterday, requiring students, staff, and faculty to be vaccinated when the vaccine has gotten full authorization from the FDA.
I will share with you, students will be receiving ongoing updates. We actually were one of the first campuses to launch what we call Healthy Pitzer, because our students are so committed to wanting to ensure a safe return that they wanted us to go ahead and launch forward with allowing them the opportunity to submit their vaccination record cards ahead of other campuses. And so our students currently can submit their COVID-19 vaccination record cards, and our faculty and staff are doing that as well. And so even before it was a requirement for students were actively volunteering to do that. And so we couldn't be more proud, again, practicing mindful of each other in action. And so our students can expect, that they can also continue to submit those records once they have completed the proper dosage. And I see a question here about someone flying into California to visit Pitzer next week. We do have Healthy Pitzer. If you're coming into for an admissions tour, I would encourage someone from the admissions team to chat with you privately so they can help you to make sure you have the best experience possible. You get to connect and meet with our amazing admissions team, and also that you can sign up under our Healthy Pitzer as a guest to be able to be on campus. No, there will not be any restrictions. There was a question about restrictions in taking classes in person at the other Claremont colleges. No, as mentioned, the only restriction that will be implemented will be the dining restriction.
Mm-hmm. And there's a couple of questions on the theme of international students who may need to come to campus, and what does that look like for them. Right now, the guidance that we've gotten from both LA County and CDC is that those who are fully vaccinated, again, don't need to quarantine upon arrival. There will be a COVID-19 test that they will have to do before 3 days, no more than 3 days before they travel, and they'll have to do that again when they arrive to campus within 3 to 5 days of arrival. But if you're fully vaccinated and arriving internationally, you can plan to arrive on time. If you're not going to be fully vaccinated, that's when we're going to want to have you come 7 days before your first day. And that's something we highly encourage international students to connect directly with Todd Suzaki in our international programs office, because there's a lot of different elements that go into play when it comes to arriving internationally. And there are some other travel restrictions in place for certain countries. And again, this is what we know as of now. And so I definitely want to, emphasize that anyone who's coming internationally, whether you live internationally or just planning to come to Pitzer from an international destination, that you please pay close attention to those travel guidelines as they are changing by the week, as the situation is fluid globally as well, and to stay in touch with Todd in our international programs office.
And I will share with you, thank you, Kayla, for putting the Healthy Pitzer link in the chat. We also are active on social media. So I'm putting in the @Pitzer OSA, if someone could put the handle in there. We have recordings with one of our nurses from Student Health Services. We had students who submitted questions through social media, and then the nurse replied in a video to students. So check that out. We will continue to post updates there for students as well. And so we are so thrilled to be able to engage with you. I know Student Health Services is also making themselves available to answer students' questions that students might have around the vaccine. We want to provide, as much information and support as possible in a caring and compassionate way, as we know that it's an important decision that individual persons have to make.
And I can answer a couple of questions regarding the vaccination cards specifically. The Healthy Pitzer app, which is the link that was put in the chat, is where students will be able to upload a picture of your vaccination card. I would say, and I would check with your admissions representative after this. I don't know, once you're an admitted student, once you convert to a student who has accepted admission, I don't know the logistics of that. So you could ask our admissions office about that. But you can upload the vaccination card on the Healthy Pitzer site. So if you have any challenges uploading that, check back with your admissions representative, because it's going to be a link to your Pitzer email.
And I also want to feature Ask Cecil. You see this here. It's part of our one-stop student support center. And you can submit a question from anywhere you are 24/7, and we'll do our best to get back to you by the next business day. Again, this is something that was created in the time of COVID so that we can extend support and reach to students no matter where they are at the hour that they are, and get back to them in a timely manner. So don't be shy. Go ahead and ask any question that you may have. We're here to help.
I just wanted to encourage the question about the soccer team when I can get to campus as a first year. We love questions right now that are not COVID related. So thank you. Let's talk about student involvement. Yay. Definitely welcome you to stick around and ask our Director of Athletics, Miriam Merrill, that question later today, because, getting back involved in athletics, getting outside, being healthy, is going to be a huge part of our success this fall semester. So I highly encourage that. Any last wrap-up questions, Sandy, Gabriella, you want to ask or answer before I hand it off to their next group?
I think I'm good. I want to say congratulations, and congratulations especially to those of you who identify as first-generation students, to you and to your families. What an amazing accomplishment. Have a wonderful evening.
Thank you for joining us.
Yes, thank you so much. And just a friendly handoff here to our next group of student affairs staff members who are going to be talking about all things housing and orientation and first year seminars, and hopefully get a lot of your questions answered. So I will let them come on camera and take it away. I've got Josh and Tasmia and Elena and Sarah. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Kirsten. Hello, everyone. My name is Josh Scacco. I'm the Associate Director of Residence Life. Kirsten's my boss. So the four of us are going to be talking about this next session, which is a little bit more around the housing and first year elements of campus. And so I'll introduce myself again, Associate Director Josh Scacco, he, him, his pronouns, and then we'll go Tasmia, Elena, and Sarah. Yeah.
Hi, everyone. My name is Tasmia. I am the first year residence director. So in the fall, I'll be living with you all in POS. I'm excited to see everyone on campus again and hopefully have some sort of normalcy come back to us a little. But it's nice to virtually meet you all.
Hi there, I am Elena Session-Goins. I'm an Associate Dean of Students and Director of Campus Life, and I will be sending out all the communications that you need about new student orientation this summer.
Hi, everyone. I'm Sarah Gilman. I'm a biology professor here at Pitzer, and I also direct the first year seminar program. So you will be hearing from me soon about your choice for your first year seminar course.
All right, I think Tasmia and I are going to go first, and we're just going to talk about the first year buildings, the rooms, and then applications and next steps and everything around that. Oh, it's so exciting. Do we have materials pulled up here?
I can share screen if I'm allowed. Yeah. Sorry, y'all, working with Canva. Let me present mode. Okay. There we go.
All right.
Okay, so first year housing, we got that.
Yes. So of course, we're going to start off saying there's a huge disclaimer. Of course, we're following. I mean, our buildings are not going to change too much, but in terms of guidelines, policies, recommendations from LA County Department of Public Health and the CDC, all that's sort of baked in, and this is what we know now. Of course, everything is a little bit subject to change, but we'll keep everyone sort of aware of any changes from here on out.
Yeah, and just a heads up, as questions come in, I can't see them, so let me know if you need help answering anything. But yeah, this is the first year complex, so we know that some of you may not have been able to get onto campus physically yet. So just to sort of explain and kind of map wise show you where the complex is at. You'll see that this is the parking lot that most people park in. Admissions office is the number 19 there. And the arrows all point at one of the first year buildings. And so we have Pitzer Hall, East Sanborn, North Sanborn, Atherton, and we will also have 2 floors of Scandera this upcoming fall. So it's kind of where the placement is of the first year complex. You'll see that the pool is in between this, the 3 buildings that are surrounding it, which is next to the gym. And so all of this is sort of all the first year complex here, and you'll see Mead on the other side, which is our upper class student complex. And then on the back end behind the first year complex is where the sophomore year complex will be.
Yes, the key is the pool, right? Every picture you see of Pitzer that has that pool on it, that's the first year complex.
Yeah.
How spoiled are we?
So here's like an image of kind of what a room can look like. So you see that there's 2 sinks in the bathroom. On the side that you can't see, there's a toilet and a shower. If you're looking at the physical room itself, you'll see there's 2 beds. There's a window in the middle, and then there's 2 desks and a chair, and each side is equal. And then behind these desks that you can't see, the area that you can't see, there's 2 areas of closet space where each student has enough closet space for their own clothes and stuff.
So this is the majority of what the first year complex looks like. There are a few other suites that look a little bit different that are more an accommodation, which I'll get into later. But for the most part, it's going to be 2 doubles with a sharing adjoining bathroom. There's 2 exterior doors. Each room has its own exterior door. And so that's what that's okay. That's what the majority of them look like.
Yeah, and we actually have a tour from the previous year on a highlight on our Instagram account. So at PZ Res Life, you can see some of the first year complex on there. Hopefully we'll be able to post an updated tour on the class of 2025 page coming soon. So FYI, if you want to see more in depth of what the complex looks like, there's more on our Instagram account.
Our residence halls, of course, have more than just rooms. We are part of creating a caring learning community. We have study rooms all throughout both the first year complex as well as what we're sanctioning off as the sophomore year experience. There's a bunch of study rooms throughout those buildings that are more communal. There's a living room in each of those complexes that has a TV as well as couches. We have a community kitchen for both of those buildings. One is called the demo kitchen. The other is the first year kitchen. Our building, the office that I used to work in, I'm working from my pantry right now, is in the first year complex as well. So folks that are looking to just find a staff member to have a question answered, that's where we're based. Tasmia's office is also located in the first year complex. And then we also have laundry rooms, of course. Meal plans. So this is really, really important business. So we've got 4 main meal plans, 2 of which are the majority of what our students use. 16 meal plan and 12 meal plan are what our students, most of which use. There's an exemption process for a 5 meal plan or a 0 meal plan. This is mostly for students who live off campus, which is not the majority of our first year complexes. It's with an exemption process. If you're interested in that, just let us know and we'll talk it out. So that's the meal plan. Those are swipes, we call them, to get into the dining hall for your breakfast, lunch, or dinner. There's also flex dollars, which can be used at other vendors across Pitzer, if that's coffee at the pit stop or anything like that. So you can see that those different packages come with different amounts of flex as well. You will commit your meal plan on your housing application, which I'll talk a little in the next few slides. But you'll also announce your meal plan that you would like. You can also change it through the first week of classes. So if you eventually change your mind, you want to go up or you want to go to the 12, again, you're just going to let me know and we'll make that change for you.
Yeah, and just to note that, because of some of the COVID restrictions that we have, Pitzer students will only have access to Pitzer dining hall and the Pitzer other services that we have, so the pit stop and hopefully the shakedown as well. There'll be a lot of outdoor seating available for students as well to kind of encourage that with COVID and all. But we'll have a lot of grab and go food options. So it'll be nice and easy to be able to grab some food and then find a seat outside or sitting on the mounds and eat together with whether that's your roommate or suite mates or other folks.
All right, we've got three main housing options for our incoming first years. We've got the general first year housing process, and you're going to complete this application. You want to suite with other first years, and that's going to be the majority of folks using that application. We have what we call a RADA, which is a room accommodation due to a disability application. It's a room accommodation for a single room. And so for folks that have a medical, are working with a medical provider to get medical documentation for an accommodation, if that's, sensory or, certain floors, there's a whole, a bunch of reasons why people may want some sort of a housing consideration due to a disability or medical accommodation. There's that application in which you put all those details in, you attach your documentation, and then I work with Dean Tempestoso to coordinate that. And then there's off-campus housing as well, which is fairly rare, but for students who may want to live with family in the local area, we have that exemption. And so those are the three main functions that first years will apply through. The housing timeline. So the application, I'm already getting emails, and it's okay. When does the housing application announce, or when is it open? We're going to announce that date, and it's going to be in May. Again, we're sort of postponing things. We're keeping an eye on LA County Department of Public Health, but we're expecting sometime in May, and we will be sure to tell you all when it is available. In terms of the timeline, in terms of processes and steps, it's really two steps that you all will do. One is apply, and the second is find suite mates, find roommates. And we will give you tools on how to do that in the next slide. But after that, I will find the room for you. So it's just the two main steps in terms of housing and meals.
Yeah, and I think something to note is that when the application opens, there's a portion that's the roommate matching profile. So if you don't have a roommate that you want to live with, and we're going to end up choosing one for you, like, we really ask you to really think about what your lifestyle is like. It's great to be that person that's like, I'm chill with everything, but really try to picture yourself on the campus and having a full-on routine, going from class to meeting or whatever that might look like, and really thinking about your needs in terms of, like, are you somebody who is more social and likes, loud music while you're studying? All those things really matter once you're actually on campus. Right now, you might feel very comfortable, and it's like all you want to say is like, yeah, I'm chill, I'm okay with anything. But consider yourself in the moment and in that scene at Pitzer, and what your needs might be if you're taking a 4-course load work, or maybe it's like a heavy semester for you. Oh, here it is. So more about that. More about that is like, if you are choosing your roommate, right, it's not required. We have a lot of students who end up not choosing someone, but we want to make it clear that you can choose someone, whether that's someone you DM'd on Instagram and you all figured that you're a great match, or maybe that's somebody you met throughout these admitted student programs or whatever else that you might have been doing with admissions. Think about a few things. One of those being similar identities, right? Or somebody who can understand your identities. If that's something that you think is important for you to have, consider that, and talk about your cultural values and backgrounds with someone you might be thinking about rooming with. Like, those are things that should be open, and talk about that to make sure that you're on the same page and you don't come into any issues when you are moving in together in the fall. Other things, like I mentioned earlier, lifestyle, right? Like, are you a light sleeper? Are you a morning or night person? Consider those things, because it does matter. If you're someone who studies late into the night, that means you wake up fairly later in the evening or in the morning, in the afternoon. And if somebody else has to get up by 7 a.m., that might not go well. Another thing that people often say, that I'm chill with this or I'm cool with this, is how clean you like to be. Please note that, it's not a small space, but it is a lot smaller than, maybe what you're used to, or maybe right now. This is a shared room, and so sometimes
I think we're getting audio issues, Tasmania.
Oh no.
Okay, now we're good.
Okay. But thank you for telling me. But definitely consider yourself and how clean you are and how clean you like your space personally. Other questions that you might want to ask: how comfortable are you with sharing, and how comfortable you are with guests and socializing, especially around COVID.
So we have all these questions also on the housing application. So again, like Tasmania was saying, you can go through the social media route. You can go through who you met here. There's a little code. You do a friend invite through our portal. It's very social media. But in the application as well, there's all these fields that you can actually do like filter searches. So if you know that, I started off waking up at 6 a.m. By the time I was done with the college, it was like 10, 11. But if you know how you feel like your sleep schedule, you can do some of those searches and find profiles that other students have completed to maybe send a message through the system and say, hey, do you want to make a roommate or roommate group for our suite? So.
Yeah. And then definitely one more shameless plug, follow our Res Life account on Instagram if you haven't already done so, because promise you, we are sharing some good tips that will be helpful. We sort of definitely talked about this. But again, when the housing application opens, hopefully in May, you do not need to know your roommates then. It's just the application, the form that you're filling out. Hopefully in July, if that's the timeline we end up going by, is when you'll share a roommate code like Josh mentioned with the people you want to live with or be suite mates with. And then again, just re-emphasizing that if you don't know anybody or don't want to choose a roommate, you're on your own, we can definitely still do that for you. Just make sure to take that roommate matching profile in your application seriously so that we can match you with the best possible pair we can find.
And the secret number is 4. That was my filter. 4. We are trying to, have you all match yourselves up. And so I'll have a full complete suite. If you're, 2 or 3, I can assist finding another person who might be looking, but 4 is the magic number. All right.
So, yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, move-in day, right? This is a day we're all looking forward to. But move-in day is currently scheduled to Saturday, August 21st. Currently, our plan is to have students sign up for individual moving time shifts. And this will be finalized later in the summer, so you don't have to worry about it right now. But the arrival time that we planned on is from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. And so when you're, again, this is a little bit future thing to worry about, but when you're coordinating travel plans, like make sure to think about this time period that we're having you all arrive between, which is 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. And then there's some orientation stuff after that Elena's going to talk about, and then first day of classes is Monday, August 30th. So I kind of just jumped in between moving day to first day of classes, but the rest of it will be talked about when Elena talks about orientation.
Okay, and this is us. Of course, you've already met Kirsten, who's in our office. It's myself, Brianna, and then for the Brianna, myself, and Kirsten are really dealing with the occupancy, room assignments, meal plans, and operations of the hall. And Tasmia is there to assist with the first year experience of it all. And so those are going to be the people that you're going to be interacting with throughout your first year.
So I know we have a bunch of things in the Q&A. So Josh, I don't know if you can see it, but I can't see them. I just see. Okay, let me try stopping. Okay, here we go. I can see them now.
So the difference between a room and a suite. So a room is, if we were to go to that picture, it'd be the 2 beds in the same room, and then the suite is the 4 people. So who's in the room versus who's sort of in the adjoining space. And so it's 2 people, it's 2 doubles, 2 people per room. Those are roommates, and then the whole suite that share the bathroom is 4 people. They're 4 suite mates.
Yeah, and so you're connected through that bathroom. Those doors connect you together. How common is random versus pre-selected rooming? I think I mentioned it, right? Like a lot of you don't end up choosing your roommate, which is completely fine. We end up pairing you, but you have this option to definitely now possibly look for a roommate, whether that's through a social media or other events that you're attending as you go through this program and others. Is food allowed inside the dorms? Yes, food is definitely allowed inside the dorms. You can eat in your room. There's a kitchen where you can cook in as well. We don't provide kitchen stuff. So if you are planning to cook a lot, we would recommend bringing like a pan and maybe like a plate or a bowl. Don't bring too much because space is still a thing, but and most of our first years don't always cook. They like to in the beginning of the semester, but as time gets busier, people end up definitely doing the grab and go stuff from the halls.
I see there's a guest policy question. We do have a guest policy in terms of amount of nights stayed, but in terms of like a sign-in sort of registration process that hasn't been used in the past. It's really about the suite mates and roommates talking to each other and say, can I have this friend over for Friday, and really being communicative around that. Yeah, yes, students will can bring microwaves and mini fridges. They are, well, especially mini fridges. Those are something that is often left behind on campus. And our re-room process, our re-room program often collects them and then is available to sell them to students so they don't have to move a mini fridge back and forth. So there's often a lot of mini fridges on campus already that first years can, when they're on move-in day, have re-room sort of set up in the corner of the parking lot to buy a mini fridge there. We have microwaves in the kitchens, so I'm microwaving in the room is not necessarily required.
We also have a large communal fridge too. The only thing we usually say is label your food so that it doesn't get taken because it is shared amongst the community. So
There's a question about how genders are distributed within the suites and floors.
Yeah, so we have a gender neutral policy, a gender inclusive policy. So students can make roommates and suite mates. You're making the group. You all are able to do that. And I'm trusting you all to talk about whatever dynamics you need to talk about before. And then Tasmia's team is there to support folks after they've already been paired into a room or a suite to figure out how this is going to work. In terms of if I'm doing roommate pairings or suite mate pairings, I do have some gender questions in terms of gender comfortabilities of roommates and suite mates on the application. So I trust that was filled out accurately, and I use that in terms of my pairings. Of course, people, I don't always get it right, and people can say, I'd like to maybe look at a different suite. That's okay, we'll talk about it. But for the most part, we are gender neutral, especially, it's more so for our, sophomore, junior, senior classes, students who know each other. However they suite themselves is how they suite themselves, and I'm okay with that in terms of policy.
great question. And there's a few others like that are a little, I'll just answer these two before we go into the next session. But does ordering from the cafe count as a meal or come out of flex dollars? That would come out as flex dollars. As of right now, again, might change, but as long as it's not, the only one that would be counting as a meal is from McConnell Dining Hall, and possibly now the Shakedown, because they might give out meals as well. But flex dollars would be from the pit stop. And then do Pitzer athletes typically house together if they're on the same team? Yes and no. Sometimes we do have athletes definitely pair up together just because they have a schedule that aligns, right? Like they wake up at the same time for training and things like that. But it's not always required or necessary. We have a lot of athletes who end up rooming with other students, and it goes well too. I think the one thing to know is like, is your sleep cycle right style and lifestyle matching? Because that does matter for a lot of our athletics because they have to wake up or go to training at some point.
Right. I think we should probably allow Elena and Sarah to have some space, but we're gonna, keep an eye on the chat and keep typing answers. So
yeah.
I am gonna share my screen as well. Can everyone see that? So I gotta advance forward real quick because we are sharing a PowerPoint. So new student orientation. New student orientation tends to be a part of the Pitzer experience that most students look back on fondly. And so it's an exciting thing to be a part of. As we plan for the fall, I think Sandy or Kirsten said earlier that we're actually planning 2 new student orientation programs. They're going to be concurrent but separate for both our first year students that are coming in fall 2021 as brand new Pitzer students, as well as our rising sophomores and transfers that started during the 2021 academic year. And the point of it is really to help you adjust both kind of physically, mentally, socially, to being at college for the first time and being physically at Pitzer. So this is kind of the purpose. We really want to create an environment in which you can begin to make friendships, as well as kind of get the lay of the land as far as resources go, academic support goes, student affairs support goes. So there's kind of three aspects to your orientation process. The first piece is your new student summer to-do list. As folks mentioned, as you all probably are assuming, there's going to be a good amount of information that we are going to need to collect from you all. And so starting in May, we're going to reach out and we're going to kind of give you your new student to-do list, which will help us welcome you virtually in August, as well as physically in August. Additionally, this summer, we're going to be having an academic orientation and registration process that will be online. And so that will both teach you about what you need to know about our academic requirements and academic resources, as well as introduce you to who your advisor is going to be, who your first year seminar professor is going to be. And then they will also help you through the advising and registration process. That will happen before you physically arrive at Pitzer. And then the last component of orientation is the on-campus new student orientation experience. So that is going to include everything from when you move in to when you meet your orientation group to when you learn about campus life and our Pitzer values and the resources and kind of how to be successful. So those are the three different components of your orientation process. So starting with your new student summer to-do list, everyone's kind of been dancing around this May deadline, but we're going to be reaching out to you on May 26th. We're going to be giving you access to our online portal called the Sage Den, and you are going to get your to-do list where you can start uploading documents, filling in forms, all those different type of things. So everything from the housing application to your orientation adventure preference form, your first year seminar preference form, ID card photo submission, because everyone gets to submit your own picture for your ID card that you'll have for all 4 years. You're going to be able to request disability support services. You'll need to share your medical insurance information. Your entrance personal health history and medical examination form is an essential requirement. We need to make sure you have the vaccinations you need before you arrive to campus, and that has been updated with our COVID vaccination protocols. And then emergency contact and missing persons information. Those are all things you're going to need to upload, send along to us. And then the other piece that's going to be happening over the summer is you're going to be receiving access to a suite of educational online training programs from the EverFi package. And those 3 different online courses are going to be around alcohol and drug prevention, sexual assault prevention, and student well-being. And so on July 15th, those will be released to you, and you'll have about a month to complete those before you arrive at Pitzer. They align with our Pitzer values as far as what we want all new students to understand before they start at college. And so it's really important that you complete those kind of during that time frame. You will receive more information about it over the summer. So then we're going to shift into the online summer academic orientation and registration. Sarah is going to talk to you about our first year seminar program and whatnot, but there are going to be some different components to your online academic orientation that will be communicated to you in other methods. We know that this is an admitted student's presentation, but I know folks are emailing me wanting information about when they need to be around. And so some information that we'll be sharing is Sarah and Phil Zuckerman, another Pitzer faculty member, will be giving kind of an academic orientation overview. And you'll kind of learn about all the things you need to know before you can register for classes, kind of about the academic programs, expectations, majors, course requirements, all of that kind of stuff will be done by Sarah and Phil via a Zoom webinar, kind of like this, on Tuesday, August 3rd. Then you will have a couple of days to take either math and/or language placement exams, and that will be done online as well. More information will be shared about that as well during the summer. And then from there, you are going to have about a week and a half between Sarah's presentation and when you actually get to meet with your first year seminar professor for the first time for kind of like a group advising session. During that time, we have a group of student leaders called academic guides who are going to be introducing themselves to you, making themselves available in case you have any questions, kind of from a student perspective about what you learned about during that academic orientation overview. You will have a group meeting, and those group meeting times are going to happen anywhere from August 13th to 15th. That's kind of dependent on the first year seminar course that you are placed into. And that will be a Zoom meeting with your faculty member and all the other students that will be in your first year seminar course. You'll get one-on-one time with your faculty advisor, which is pretty awesome at Pitzer, that you get to have, you know, solo time to just talk about what your interests are, what you're wanting to register for. And so your faculty member will set that up for you. And then course registration is actually going to happen on August 17th or August 18th. You'll have a period of time that you get to register for classes, and then you'll have your fall classes. Additionally, on those registration days, I'm sure your faculty will be available if you have questions, but also, again, our academic guides, our student academic guides will be able to help you if you have questions about logistics or you're running into issues, as well as our registrar will be available. So that's kind of the online academic experience that you'll have before you even physically get to Pitzer's campus. And then, as I said, the third component of your orientation experience is the on-campus one. So as Tasmia and Josh said, our new student move-in day is going to be Saturday, August 21st by appointment. The housing application and the housing process, they will get you set up with your assigned appointment time. And then pretty much starting the next day, you're going to start your orientation activities. Some things to expect from the 22nd to the 29th, which is about 7.5 to 8 days, is every new student, both our first years and our sophomores and our transfers, will get to go on an orientation adventure trip. So that's 2 days where you either are, you know, going off campus, or some trips that might want to stay on campus, and just a way to get to know each other. There's going to be some academic information sessions or events, I guess you would say, about transitioning to college, resources, kind of hearing from faculty and students about, you know, different academic opportunities, words of wisdom, all of that kind of stuff. We'll have some educational sessions and like small group discussions with student leaders around important values. You know, wellness and mental health is a big one that we really want to be sensitive to this year. Diversity, equity, inclusion, and racial justice issues, alcohol use and kind of campus life, as well as sexual violence prevention. Additionally, you're going to have a chance to check out Pitzer. If you can't get out here or haven't been out here, you'll get a chance to check out Pitzer and the surrounding 5 Cs, kind of see where your classes are going to be, and just get to spend time. And then I think probably a big part of orientation is just going to be small group social activities, time getting to know your orientation group, time getting to know the people that live on your floor, and whatnot. We will have downtime, so we won't be running you too tired. There'll be downtime. There'll be time for you to get settled into your new home. So we are very excited to welcome you all physically. I did want to just give a couple of notes about Orientation Adventure. It's kind of like a signature program at Pitzer. Due to the COVID pandemic and not being able to welcome our sophomores last year, they're going to be doing a concurrent orientation experience that's separate but equal. So The first years will be going 2 days off campus on Monday and Tuesday of orientation week. Our sophomores will be going away Thursday and Friday. So your group will be only first years, only transfers, only sophomores. So you'll get to know your other people in your class. Additionally, you will have orientation leaders, 2 of them per group, that will help lead you through your orientation week. They'll be there for words of wisdom, for clarification, for questions, all of that kind of stuff. This year, again, due to a limited amount of time for orientation adventure, we're going to be running 2-day trips, as I mentioned. We're going to have a couple trips that are kind of camping based, either beach camping or surfing. And then about 2/3 of the trips will be sleeping on campus for the one night of orientation adventure, but doing either SoCal urban adventures or SoCal outdoor adventures, or we'll have one that's even, or 1 or 2 that's even like kind of like Camp Claremont, getting to do things at the 5 Cs to build community for those that maybe aren't comfortable kind of going out and about. As far as safety goes, you know, we are one of the only programs at the 5 Cs that's running orientation adventure this year, but I am really going to take the County of LA public health guidelines seriously in the planning and implementation. The orientation leaders will receive training on safety protocols as well as expectations for their trips. And the new students, all of you, will have a lot of say in what you're comfortable with and what you're not comfortable with. And we'll make sure that you are on a trip that you are comfortable with. Truly, the goal of orientation adventure is to foster the development of meaningful relationships. That can be done anywhere. It doesn't matter the activity that you participate in, we want you to build relationships. And so it is a part of the orientation program, but it's not the only part of the orientation program. So I have a great team that's going to be working with us this summer. Myself, Eric, Cortland, and Kristen are a part of the planning process for orientation. And then I partner with faculty colleagues, other student affairs colleagues, as well as other student services. If you need to get a hold of us, if you have any questions, orientation@pitzer.edu is our email. And that is it. So I'm also going to put our Instagram handle in the chat. Please follow us. Do you all have any questions? Let's see. Are there going to be some of the same orientation adventures from previous years? Yes, so we're going to have surfing and beach camping, which have been historic. LA Arts and Food has been a pretty typical one. SoCal Local has been a pretty typical one. But pretty much any trips that we couldn't get to within about an hour, we have eliminated this year because we have such a small amount of time. And so that's why we're going to kind of lean into the more local trips, like exploring LA and Orange County, going on hikes like more locally and whatnot. And as I said, we will have some accommodations for those that are more comfortable staying at the Claremont colleges. OA trips are one night, but your orientation experience is 8 days. So the trips are just a little bit of your orientation experience. So there's gonna be a lot of fun time to bond. So someone asked about being at a sleepaway camp and not being able to attend some sessions. So I think the most important thing, which maybe Sarah, you can answer, is we're doing a Zoom webinar, which can be viewed at any point. And so if you can't see it live and participate, as long as you know to be checking your email and be, keeping in touch with your faculty members and whatnot, I think that'll be okay. I think that's all the questions that you all have for me about orientation. Maybe Sarah, if you want to jump in to your components, then maybe we'll have more questions.
Sure, I can go ahead and do my presentation. There is a question right now. Somebody asked where they can find the course catalog. And if you Google Pitzer course catalog, it pops right up. I have to find where I hid my presentation from myself. Let's see. Okay, hopefully you guys are seeing that. I'm going to switch to this view. Okay. Can someone give me a thumbs up that you guys can see that? Elena, thank you guys. Okay, so I'm Sarah Gilman. I am a biology professor here at Pitzer, and I also run the first year seminar program. And I did put my email address on this slide in case you guys have any questions for me down the road. You can also find me if you Google Pitzer first year seminars. You will find the page on Pitzer's website that also has my name and contact information. So let's see, I thought I would start by explaining to you guys exactly what a first year seminar course is. So first year seminars are interdisciplinary courses. They're small, they're seminar size, they're small. There'll be 15 to 16 students this year. They are writing intensive. They fulfill the writing requirement for Pitzer. And they also are meant to introduce you to the greater academic life at Pitzer. So not just about what goes on inside of the classroom, but what is going on outside of the classroom at Pitzer and at the 5Cs and how that relates to what's going on in your classroom. And so most classes have activities such as attending talks or seminars or going on field trips or visiting art exhibits on campus, things that link with the course material to the greater academic community. The courses themselves are often interdisciplinary. Explorations of big questions or societal issues. We will have 22 FYS sections this year. And I just picked 5 to show you. You will eventually get a list of all 22 to choose from, but just some examples of course titles coming up. Language, Gender, and Stand-Up Comedy, The Science of Dreams, Pandemic Histories, Europe During and After the Black Death, People on the Move, Understanding US Immigration, The Musical Mind, Philosophical, Historical, and Naturalistic Perspectives. So all over the board, everything from science to humanities, often interdisciplinary. That's a mix as well. And your FYS instructor will also serve as your academic advisor, usually for your first 2 years until you declare a major. I'll explain that a little bit in a minute. I also wanted to give you guys an idea of the timeline of just when you would find out more about FYS courses and when you would have to choose them. And so I expect I'm now wrangling these 22 faculty to try and get them to send me their course descriptions. Those should be posted through the Sage Den sometime in late May. So you will have a preference form open up where you can choose up your 5 top choices out of these 20 or so. And that form will be due sometime in mid-June, sometime in mid-July. Depending on how hard it is to assign everybody, we will release your course assignments. Usually I can get everybody into their top 3 choices, but I can't promise that. And adding the same course over and over again on your preference list does not guarantee that you will get it. So I strongly encourage you to choose 5 different courses so that you wind up with something that you know you're going to like. Because that instructor, as I said, will also be your academic advisor. So you will get a chance to meet with them before you come to Pitzer in mid-August when you start doing your academic orientation and registering for classes. And I know someone did ask earlier about what happens if you can't make any of these meetings. So the most important meeting, or the most important thing, is to register for classes. So if you know you're going to be out of internet access that week, the week of the 15th, we can come up with an alternate plan. You just have to let us know. And we usually manage to accommodate students so that we can have someone register for them if you guys can't actually get online to register. While I have you guys here, I wanted to talk a little bit about the academic advising component, just so that you know what that is and how that works, because an academic advisor in college is a little bit different than maybe an advisor or counselor that you might have had in high school. Pitzer is unique in doing this linkage between your first year seminar professor also being your academic advisor. It's a program I really like because it means I'm seeing my advisees twice a week, every week in class. I really get to know you guys as advisees. And I think it makes me able to give students better advice about their academic programs. But an academic advisor is not much more than what it sounds like. It's a faculty member who advises you on academics. So academic advising involves anything from helping you pick that first set of courses for your first semester to helping you narrow down your interests into a major, helping you connect with resources on campus, like if you want to study abroad and you don't know where to start, if you're trying to figure out how to get a summer internship, your academic advisor is somebody you can go to who can help you sort of sort through and figure out where to get started on those. They're also someone you can go to. They're also someone you can go to if you're having, if you're facing academic challenges. So they can help you locate resources like tutoring, help you figure out how to use the Writing Center, put you in touch with the academic coaching that Student Affairs does, and just generally help with that first year in the transition to college life. I think that may actually be my last slide. The one thing I did want to reiterate is that advisors are really there to advise. We're not your boss. We're not going to tell you what course to take. We're there to support you and help you figure out your interests and help you navigate your academic career. But this is really your career and your choices to make in terms of the courses you're going to take, the major you're going to choose, study abroad, career services, all of those things. I think that's actually all I was going to say. That is the end of my slideshow. So I'm going to stop and I can take any questions that people have about that.
So Sarah, is the FYS the only course that they will register for before they arrive at campus?
That is a very good point. Yes, FYS is the only course that you'll be assigned to, and it's the only one that you'll choose before registration on the week of August 15th. Yeah.
So you'll actually do that before you arrive for campus. You will register for all your classes before you physically get here. That's on the 17th and 18th.
Yeah, that's on the 17th and 18th. So you'll get assigned your
good.
FYS course first, and they all meet at the same time, so it shouldn't affect the rest of your courses. And then after you meet with your advisor, you'll have an online registration to pick the rest of your courses. Courses are not first come, first serve. So I actually wrote a little computer program to try and sort you guys to maximize the number of people who got first choices. So it doesn't matter how soon you submit that form. It's just how popular the courses you choose are determines how likely you are to get your first choice. And the options will be posted probably sometime by the end of May, so that you can see them and start to make your choices. Yeah, those are the only questions I have. So
That FYS form will be released on May 26th with all the other forms that you're
with all the other forms, yeah.
For your summer to-do list.
Thank you all so much. That was super informational. I don't see any other questions coming in. So we're gonna send everyone on a quick 15-minute break. We'll be back at 6:31. Sorry, I'm not able to do time zone calculations for everyone, but we'll be back in 15 minutes. And then we'll get to hear about first year support services and wellness at Pitzer. See you all soon. Hello, everyone. Welcome back from our break. I hope you're able to grab some water, grab some snack, use a restroom. And for our next session, I'm going to pass it on to Gabriella, Stephanie, and Connie to talk to you all about first year support services and wellness at Pitzer.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back. I hope you had a good break. I'm going to go ahead and introduce our team, but I'm also going to share screen. So let's see if I can do both at the same time. Hopefully I can. All right, here we go. All right, hopefully everyone can see that. So my name is Gabriella Tempestoso. I'm the Associate Dean of Students and Director of Academic Support Services at Pitzer. And I can actually go ahead and have Stephanie and Connie, if they want to briefly introduce themselves and just maybe let everyone know how long you've been at Pitzer and anything else you would like to share with our folks here.
All right, well, I am Stephanie Hannay, Assistant Dean of Students and Case Manager. I have been at Pitzer for almost 4 years. I am a big fan of yoga, cooking, and Dodgers baseball.
And Connie?
Sorry, muted. Hi, I'm Connie Helen. I have been at Pitzer for 9 years. My pronouns are she, her, hers. I have had 2 daughters who have gone through the Claremont colleges, so I've kind of seen things from staff perspective, parent perspective, and I love being here.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So we'll go through our slides, but then we're going to definitely save room for questions at the end, or also you can start popping them in the chat if you like. So I know usually for our sessions, folks have a lot of questions. So please feel free. That's what we're here for, to answer them for you.
So the big question, the big question is, what is case management? And it is working with me and talking all about self-care and wellness. So it's referrals, it's outreach, it's consultation, care coordination, resources, advocacy, crisis intervention, wellness checks, and then the meat of it is one-on-one check-in appointments. And so when we work together, you know, we meet maybe weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, and we go over, you know, how are you balancing academics and, you know, work, home life, leadership positions on campus, all the things, like in really infusing mindfulness, grounding, coping skills, into your daily routine, everything from like taking, you know, a nourishing walk, having really good snacks, and really looking at your whole day and how you could put self-care in anywhere. And we also are part of Strive to Thrive. It's a mental health and well-being campaign focused on self-care, wellness, relational and social support, and academic success. And so a big, like, signature part of Strive to Thrive is Wellness Wednesdays. It's programming facilitated by our health and wellness outreach facilitator, Kristen, and our interns. And it's around the 8 dimensions of wellness. Like this week, we did financial wellness, and we partnered with an outside organization called Onami and talked all about, you know, saving, investing for the future, balancing a checkbook, all the things that, you know, that I didn't learn in college, and hopefully you will when you come to Pitzer. And then we also have workshops, you know, one-off workshops, self-care workshops. We have right here this flyer, Overcoming Test Anxiety. We partnered with Connie to come talk about different tips for, you know, time management, study skills and stuff like that. And we have, you know, hopefully workshops around the 5 senses, you know, all sorts of really fun stuff for you coming up this year. We have Campus Well, which is an online multi-platform wellness magazine, and it has all sorts of stuff, again, around the 8 dimensions of wellness, from how to make a good granola to how to, you know, balance stress. And we also will take 7C resources and put their information onto that platform. So then you could say, hey, what's a QRC doing? Hey, what is, you know, these folks over here doing, to really look at holistic wellness. And it's available. You could go on there now, on your phone, on your tablet, or on your computer, and it's free. And then we also have, this year, we started a self-care kit on Sakai. So every semester I get a roster of students and I'll invite you. It's kind of like a class. So PZ self-care kit, and on there we have a huge library of resources. You know, it's, you know, go at your own pace 24/7, and there's things like, you know, mindfulness meditations, self-compassion, self-love activities, how to find a therapist, mental health assessments. It's very diverse and eclectic amount of mental health and wellness stuff. And then the last thing, I really hope all of you get your phones out and follow us on Instagram, PZ Strive to Thrive. And we have all sorts of really fun stuff we've been rolling out. We have Wellness Wednesdays live on Wednesdays, obviously, at 3 o'clock. And then we also have a cook and chat where we, thank you, Olivia, where we do, we talk about that Wellness Wednesday, like we talked about financial wellness at noon today. And then I usually cook something. Last week we did, I think we did smoothie bowls. I've made breakfast burritos. So it's like this fun, really relaxed chat. And then, you know, students can pop in and ask us questions. And that's it.
And I can talk a little bit about access and disability support, but I just want to highlight the fact that this was mentioned in our earlier presentation, if some of you were with us, but we really are focusing, working to focus on mental health and wellness, which is something we were already doing before the COVID-19 pandemic. But I want you all to know that that is something we really, as a college, and then of course our area, which really on a day-to-day basis works with students around mental health and wellness and support. So just know that we are keeping track of the literature really that's just saying that, you know, everyone's been struggling. It's been a tough year and a half for folks. And so know that what we're striving to do in our office is to create a welcoming environment for students coming to campus and trying to create ways for you all to build community with each other and also have ways to have fun, right? I think that's something that's been challenging for everyone right now. It's been such a serious time. And so really finding ways, as Stephanie said, if it is learning how to make a healthy granola or being involved with any of our activities through Instagram, Strive to Thrive, Wellness Wednesdays. So it's really that academic piece, but being very mindful that you are a whole person and a whole student, and that's what we want to foster as well. So I just wanted to add to that. But so please do check us out. As Stephanie said, you have your phones handy. If you start following us on Instagram, you'll really get a good flavor of what some of the programming that we have. And there's also a lot of really wonderful motivational graphics that Stephanie and our team put up pretty much every day, actually several times a day even. So if you want to really get a sense of what our office does and sort of what we can, what you can join in when you join us in the fall, that'll give you a great sense of it. So just wanted to share that. As far as access, disability support services, that's where I come in. That is the bulk of what I do. I work with students who have accommodations, whether you've had accommodations in high school, or perhaps some students I'll find that they had them earlier in their academic career and then maybe didn't use them in high school or use them, you know, sporadically. It's really up to you and your comfortability of what you find that you need and what accommodations you need if you do have access needs. So how that works is you will turn in documentation to our office, and I know our admissions staff has already been working to facilitate that for you all, but if you have questions, my email is at the bottom. You can reach us at academicsupport@Pitzer. Once you submit that documentation, we do set up a meeting once. I can do it now over the summer, or once you arrive onto campus. It is something that does not have to be done immediately now, but if you do have questions about what accommodations and how they transfer from high school to college, I'm very happy to have those conversations with you. But we set up a meeting just to check in, go over your documentation, go over the accommodations you may have already had, and then talk about what those look like at Pitzer. And then once the academic year begins, we do go ahead and set up in collaboration. It's an online platform that we have for students to set up their accommodations. And then the accommodation letter gets sent out electronically to your faculty. So that's done once you've selected classes, which I'm sure if you all may or may not know yet, we're getting a little ahead of ourselves, but class registration is done in August. So we send that letter out once you are secure in the classes you've selected. So it's a bit of a channeled, a tiered step process. So then throughout the academic year, once your accommodations are in place, our office is also available to check in with you to see if accommodations are working. If there's some bumps in the road, we can certainly set up a meeting to talk about that, to discuss, you know, what might be going on for you, what other needs you might have. So we're also there for students throughout the academic year as like a checkpoint. We don't necessarily have regular meetings, although if students want regular meetings, that's something we can do. But really in college, we really want to support students and advocate for students, but we also want to give students a chance to advocate for themselves, to learn that skill. That's a very important life skill. So we really try to create that balance in our office where we want to support you, but we also want to give you the tools and the access for you then to be a successful Pitzer student. And then lastly, housing accommodations. I know that question's come up already quite a bit in my interaction with admitted students. And so if you have any questions about housing accommodations and what that looks like, I'm happy to answer those at the end of our presentation as well. So again, if you have any other questions or after this presentation or next week, as you're making your final decisions, hopefully to join us, you can email me at academicsupport@pitzer.edu. It's right there on the screen. If you have any additional questions that you need clarification on. And so then I will turn it over to Connie, who is our fabulous academic coach and works with students quite a bit. I'll let you know, tell you what she does.
Hi, I'm Connie Helland. So a lot of students and parents go, what is academic coaching? That sounds like a very strange thing. It's kind of, it's really individualized. So there isn't one answer as to what academic coaching is. But I work with students on a lot of time management, especially for our first years they're coming on. And even before the pandemic, it's like, how do I manage all this time? It's so different. You know, I'm in class for maybe 2 hours a day. What do I do with all that time? When do I study? Should I study all the time? Should I, you know, and they have all these questions about how they're supposed to manage their time, because before so much time was structured for them. And now there's all of this open time that they have to figure out what to do. So academic coaching is for every student on campus. It's a free service. So for our general student body, I provide up to three sessions per semester. It's self-selecting. So if you want to do it, come to me, but it's not a requirement. A lot of students come to me at the beginning of the semester, and it may be the only time I see them during the semester, but they come in and they're like, all right, I need to get organized. So we'll go through all of their syllabi, kind of make a big plan. We print up these giant calendars, help them get all of their assignments on the calendar for the semester, and then they don't have to think about that for the rest of the semester. They hang it on their walls. A bunch of our upperclassmen will tell you, I got the calendar on my wall, you know, and they walk into someone's dorm room and goes, oh, you saw Connie too. So it's one way to really kind of do some really basic planning. If students want more, I help them look at their week generally and go, okay, what does every day look like? Let's get your classes on a daily schedule. When are you eating? When are you getting enough sleep? When are you studying? Are you studying? You know, hopefully everyone says yes. But, you know, sometimes we have to tell students, you need to be studying more. Once in a while, we say, you need to study a little bit less. You're not having any free time, and that's not healthy for you either. And so helping them try to understand what a good balance of how to use their time on campus looks. And if during this conversation, it doesn't sound like they're engaging, making friends or joining clubs, you know, that's a great time for me to say, hey, let's think of some ways where you can be more interactive on campus. And if they say, I'm feeling really lonely, then I say, hey, I know someone you should talk to. And I loop them into Stephanie. We're sending students back and forth to each other all the time. Stephanie will work through things and then she'll say, sounds like you could use some time management. Why don't you go see Connie too? So we're really just sending, you know, we're a great support network for our students. We see someone that has a need and we're sending them to someone else we know who has a strength that might not be our specific thing. So a lot of times a student will pick one of us and go, I don't know if I'm in the right place, but I could use some help. And then we help them find what kind of help they need. But time management is pretty much something everybody can use. When students come to me, sometimes they're struggling to figure out how to study again because it's really different from high school. So learning to tweak what really worked for them before, maybe finding some new strategies, going, oh yeah, flashcards really were a useful tool. Let's get you some note cards and just get back to basics so you can learn to memorize and make sense of all of the material you're going through. And learning how to prioritize assignments and when to do them and what's most important, all of that is in the syllabus. The syllabus is so, so important. I know it feels like you should just stick it in your binder and you don't really need it. You need it. You need your syllabus. And I'm going to make you pull it out and we'll go through it and figure out what's most important. But sometimes it's easy to lose perspective on what's important. You go, I've got all of these assignments. And so we'll go back through the syllabus and go, okay, well, this assignment is worth 5 points, but this other class has this 100-point assignment. I really want you focusing on that 100-point assignment and not so much on this 5-point assignment, even though this feels important. And so kind of trying to help them remember what's important and how much time to spend on it, because that gives you perspective too. 5 points means you shouldn't spend a ton of time. 100 points means the professor is expecting something big of you. And so you need to give that maybe a couple weeks worth of work. Another thing I work through with students are learning to set SMART goals. And Stephanie does goal setting too. And mine are kind of more academically focused rather than emotionally focused. But SMART stands for specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-based. I have to look at my little thing up in the corner, but but it's really helping students understand that, you know, when they say goal setting, you think, oh, I want to graduate from college. That's my goal. And that is a great goal. But we need a goal for today. And that goal for today might be, I need to do 2 of my math problems before dinner time. And so really learning to break down those things that need to get done into smaller chunks so it feels really manageable. And it's so satisfying to go, yes, check, I can slash that off my list. Like I said, it's just super individualized. Students have different needs about what they want to do. Some students just want to get a little bit of organization under their belt. Other students, specifically some of our students with accommodations, they need a little bit more. They might need regular check-ins. And so we'll go through each of their assignments for the week, talk about, did you get everything done last week? Do we need to move forward? Do you need to contact your professors? Are you going to office hours? So we just really try to make sure that our students are independent, but also have that network of learning how to be proactive and learning some of these new skills that they're going to need to carry for the next 4 years. So that's it for me. If you guys have any questions.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Connie. And now we're going to open it up for questions, but I briefly just want to show you the rest of our team who was not able to join us. Just we're squeezing in for time. But Kristen Williams works closely with Stephanie on health and wellness. A lot of what we talked about regarding not just the mental health piece, but that also holistic, well-rounded student that we're trying to support you all with. Kristen does a lot of that outreach, and she helps Stephanie with Wellness Wednesdays, the cook and chat right now. And again, if you want to check those out, they're on through our Instagram. And then Rudolph Ganadin is our coordinator for academic support. So he really helps out with exam proctoring, coordinating with tutors. He will also help just in any capacity that the rest of us need support in. He's our fabulous jack of all trades coordinator person. And so really these other 2 individuals just round out our team and really trying to support you all. So just wanted to put those faces and names out there for you. So we'll go ahead and open up the chat. I know it's open, but I'm going to check the Q&A and stop sharing my screen. So for any questions you all have, I see there's some already. So PZ Strive to Thrive is out there. And we will then just see if there are any additional questions for us.
I'm also going to drop a link while we're waiting for anybody has questions to my mental health and wellness page, which has, like, I shared the Campus Well one before, and then I also wanted to share just resources, national, local, community, if you want to start, you know, checking it out for what's in the community and stuff like that. I also, it wasn't on one of the slides, we have the Sagen Financial Resource Center with our basic needs, with it's pretty much like a one-stop shop to connect folks to, you know, fellowship, you know, opportunities, scholarship, club funding. It's pretty much, I got together with a bunch of different offices, you know, career services to see, hey, where can students have opportunities to maybe get funding for something. And so I would just, if I were you, check it out. I know I'm missing something, but that's kind of a quick rundown of what's on my website.
Thank you, Stephanie. That's great. So it looks like we don't have any questions coming in. So I think, I don't know if anything else you'd like us all to do?
No, that was all great. Thank you all so much, and have a good rest of your evening.
All right. Thank you all so much. Thank you for joining us. Bye, everyone.
we have Sandy and Miriam here, and they're just here to chat with you, share any thoughts that they have about our fall this year and welcoming students back to campus, or anything regarding physical education or athletics at Pitzer. If you have any questions for them, feel free to use the Q&A box or the chat box, and I'll pass it on over to the two of you.
Thank you so much, Duan. Hi, everyone. Again, I'm Sandy Vasquez. I'm the Interim Vice President for Student Affairs. I've been at Pitzer for approximately now going on to 4 years. That has gone by very, very fast. I previously was the Assistant Vice President and Dean of Students here at Pitzer, and my pronouns are she, her, hers.
And hi, everyone. My name is Miriam Merrill, she, her. I am the Director of Pomona Pitzer Athletics. I have only been here about 10 months, but it has been a great ride, though it's been virtual. Super excited for next year, next semester. I'm originally from the Midwest, so do I have any Midwesterners in the room? If so, please tell me what state you're joining us from. But excited to be here tonight.
And I'm born and raised here in California. Can you believe I'm one of 7 children? So I'm the middle child of 7, and absolutely love spending time with my family. I will tell you just a little bit about myself and my role. I greatly enjoy the meaningful relationships that I've had an opportunity to establish with students over the years and now alumni. I often tell students, in my role as Dean of Students, I would tell them that I was going to be their Dean of Students and their Dean for life. And now as students are transitioning into alumni status, it's that lifelong mentoring relationship. And I think that's one of the things that makes the experience at Pitzer so special, is that close-knit community where you can really engage in meaningful dialogue and sometimes challenging dialogue as well as we grow and learn together in and out of the classroom, from a co-curricular and curricular experience, but also on and off the court, on and off the field. And it's been remarkable to see students through their progression over the years as they continue to blossom and grow and just showcase, their talent and grow into their talent. That's just a little bit about some of my experiences here overall and what really brings great joy to me and being here at Pitzer.
Yeah, and one thing I'll talk a little bit about athletics and physical education and club and intramural. So we have 21 varsity teams, which are a lot of fun to watch and engage in. For those who are like, I just want to kind of take it easy, be involved in some sort of athletic activity, but don't want the kind of varsity aspects, we do offer club and intramurals as well. So that's a great way to still stay engaged in your sport without kind of the time commitment that it normally takes for a varsity athlete. And then we also have a wellness component, right? So for those of you who are looking to just stay engaged with like yoga classes and let's see, what else do we offer? Aerobics. Like there's a whole host of classes that students can take. And what we do know is that moving your body is going to be really critical, especially as you tax your mind. So making sure that you engage in some sort of physical fitness in some way, shape, or form is going to be really great. So it's been great to get to know our students, and certainly hope to see you all in the fall on our athletic spaces and recreation spaces. But yeah, certainly we'll answer any questions if you all have any specific to athletics or physical education.
Absolutely. And I wish that we could see you and engage with you and see your beautiful faces, but please feel free. That we really wanted to be here for you. If there's any questions that you have, we're happy to engage in dialogue. That's one of the things about Pitzer is that we really value dialogue with students.
I think I'll throw a question out. If you don't have one, I'm certainly interested in hearing your experiences. So what are you all most excited about for next fall? And what are you most nervous about for next fall? Is it making that final decision? Actually coming? It looks like we might have someone in the Q&A. The question in the Q&A. So as you all ponder that, what gym will be used while the new one is being built? And when will the new gym be open? Great question. So we are super excited that we have a new athletic and wellness facility that will be open in August of 22. So we have a full year of using temporary spaces, and then we'll have a really great facility that will have a recreation gym, a competition gym, strength and conditioning space, yoga, classroom spaces, meeting spaces. So we're really looking forward to it being the hub of wellness, physical activity, and engagement. So in the meantime, we're going back and forth. So because of COVID, right, there are certain guidelines that we have to accommodate in order to be open. So we haven't settled on a permanent space just yet, but do know that all students will still have the option to exercise and move their body while our facility is being built. So more news to come, super excited about it, and certainly look forward to when the new building is open.
And I can share with you that during this time, we actually, because we have, again, as mentioned in the last session, the beauty of the shared services, because we're Pomona Pitzer, our students currently have been able to access Pomona outdoor recreation facilities. And we've been piloting, the badging, the daily badging system to make possible the safe access. And it's been working out very well, and our students are greatly enjoying that opportunity, and also to connect with others in community. So I see the question here, will in-person student events resume to normalcy this fall? We are committed to continuing to work towards safe spaces for students to engage in community. It all goes back to our guidelines, right? If we're able to honor expectations around wearing a mask, social distancing, and be able to be mindful of what the capacity limitations would be based on the CDC guidelines. I can tell you it probably won't be, have us having, initiatives and programs where we have significantly large, 1,000, 500, 300 type of, large scale programs. We're hoping to try to maintain and manage the large gatherings that we will have to something that is reasonable in accordance with the guidelines. And then as restrictions continue to loosen up, we will also adjust as well, as it is safe for us to do so. We have to be mindful, in our community of how we are doing, with the expectation of the vaccination mandate, the timing it might take for us to get everyone vaccinated. If there might be students who have really extenuating circumstances that maybe they didn't have access to that vaccine, for example, wherever they were residing, and maybe couldn't get it until they got here to campus. And so honoring that it's going to take some time. And I have sincere trust and faith in our community that a majority of our students will come here before they arrive to Pitzer, having been vaccinated. And again, that goes back to our mindful of each other ethos. And we're all very excited. I know our faculty, our staff are very excited to resume engagement in community with students in the close-knit community that we have. I think there's another question. If we participate in a fall sport club, do most teams have a preseason, specifically field hockey? And if they do have a preseason, how does that work?
Yeah, so preseason, yes, in the sense that there is the ability to kind of lead up to condition, learn kind of each other. So yes, in that sense. But are there kind of smaller scrimmages, I think is maybe what you mean by preseason. It really just depends, right? So I think the best thing is to connect. If you go to sagehens.com, there's a link that says club teams, and then you can scroll down to see field hockey and connect with the actual captains who kind of run the team. And they can give you a better sense of what the season looks like. But certainly health and safety is going to be of the utmost concern. So as it relates to transitioning into the sport, yes, there will be a preseason in that sense. I
see another question about classes will be in person, as I mentioned. we are going to be able to, engage in normal activity as it relates to going to class at another campus, utilizing shared service centers, going to, if there's, a campus, I don't know if Pomona College has a program or if we have a program, other students will be able to attend. There'll probably be a greater expectation for, RSVPing in advance so that we can plan accordingly, and making sure one of the things united across the colleges is we're going to have a badging system to make sure that students are vaccinated, that either they're vaccinated or they're complying with the testing protocols in place, because health and safety of all of the community will continue to be preeminent. And it's going to be a lot of trust. And again, being mindful of each other is going to continue to be the ethos that will guide us in honoring the guidelines that we do have, with the hope that eventually we will lean into a full normal student experience, once we're able to. And we'll continue to monitor the Los Angeles County Department of Public Health guidance.
I think there's a question about will club and intramural sports teams be able to meet, practice, and compete? That is the hope. Of course, this is all dependent on LA County guidelines, but in the direction that we're moving, we hope that answer continues to be yes. But it won't look exactly like it has before, right? So understanding that there may be some transition into kind of full gatherings that we may have to adhere to, but can certainly give information as it gets closer and once we have more solid information as to where LA County is and the guidelines that we must follow from them.
So there's a question about whether students will be able to leave campus during the semester. Yes, we've been working hard during this time also to think innovatively and creatively about, understanding we are going to want students to be engaged in, the sense of belonging to community. On Sundays, I can tell you here in the Claremont Village, there's a beautiful farmers market that is it just brings so much peace to your soul. And if there's just anything to just see community, being around each other, it's just a beautiful thing to see. Some students may want to go walking. We have the California Botanical Gardens right down the street. And so there's a lot that's around us. But also, some students may want to go to the mall in Montclair that's just down the street and not too far away. And so it really depends on student interests. But, and we have Mount Baldy where, some folks may go hiking, for example. So there's definitely a lot of things to do around us. In terms of can students go hiking to the Claremont Loop or Mount Baldy, we encourage students to engage in outdoor activity as long as they're engaging in a safe manner. Currently, again, the local national parks also provide specific guidance. And there's, again, going back to the element of trust and being mindful of each other. It's also part of the greater surrounding community, because I will tell you the Claremont community is also a partner, a thought partner, and they do look to the Claremont colleges and our students also to help contribute to a safe community here as well.
I see a question that says, what are some of the PE courses that will be offered to first year students? So there's tons of classes. So like yoga, as I said, there's a golf course, pickleball. Pickleball is one of my favorites that I've picked up over the pandemic. Fencing, fitness, walking, jogging, toning. There's a long list of classes. And if you go to sagehens.com again, there's a tab that says PE and wellness. and you can click and see all of the fall course offerings. But there's a lot of stuff to be engaged in. So if somebody's like, you know what, I don't really want to be in the gym, I'd rather do something that's outside. Playground games is another game class that's offered, dancing too. So there's a whole host of ways that you can engage in physical activity that isn't just very sport heavy. So hopefully you all will find something that you think is your fit and fits your need, and you'll have a great time engaging in that class.
Some students during the year here at Pitzer, we do have a small gym and some, different instruction classes where we offer yoga, Zumba, sometimes dance lessons. It really depends. A lot of times those classes are student led. And, we have students that are very talented and students who maybe want to learn or maybe just want to have fun. And that's perfectly okay. So yeah, and if we don't have something that is of interest to you and you have a talent that you want to share with others, let us know. In the same way, for example, with clubs and organizations, you never know what you might bring and inspire for the greater community.
And just to add to that, to kind of answer this next question, yes, so the 5C PE classes are open to 5C. So, you'll get a chance to engage with other students on other campuses, which is always a great experience.
And we also have the Green Bike program as well. And it is in the true Pitzer spirit, a space that, again, was an organic student-led initiative where a lot of our students will be able to check out a bike and use that and learn how to fix, repair, flat tire, or other things. But it's a really neat program that I hope you check out if you haven't seen it already online. But when you get here, to also check that out. And we also have a pool here at Pitzer as well. It's not as big as the one over at Pomona, but we do have a pool. And our students love to hang out in the hammocks outside, or we have these awesome, chairs on the lawn that are just a serene place to soak in all of the beautiful cacti, the trees, and sometimes students just sit outside to play their guitar or do their homework, meditate. I've lived on campus as dean of students during my time, and so I'll never forget there was a day really early in the morning when I stumbled upon two students hugging two of the trees outside, and so I had to stop and ask. And they said it was part of their daily meditation, that it just was a grounding experience for them, and they love trees. And so, definitely the landscape is something that our students are connected to, and it's really inspirational on top of the murals that we have that are designed by students. And you'll have a chance to explore those as well when you arrive.
So here's a question that says, are there ways to engage in things like dance and fencing without taking PE classes? Absolutely. I mean, there are so many activities that are going on campus that, yes, there are tons of ways that you can engage without having to physically enroll in a class. So either just, keep an eye out for it. And certainly Dean Vasquez, if you have thoughts on how to make sure that students don't miss that type of information. And then as well, you can always visit the website to take a look at clubs, and intramurals, which is, a little less structured.
Yeah, and some of those activities are like, we have an amazing a cappella group at the 5C level. We have competitions, dance competitions where students team up with faculty or a staff member, kind of like those, what are those, the shows where, you have these celebrities that do dance-offs,
Dancing with the Stars.
There you go, Dancing with the Stars. And so there's a lot of talent. Other things that I see our students get involved with is, theater at the 5C level. So there's an opportunity, explore your, the passion and interest that you have or things that you might be curious about. And also push yourself a little bit to maybe explore something you've never thought about before.
you mentioned exploring, like now is the time to explore, right? You have nothing but opportunity to try things that you haven't done and to be a new person, right? To really kind of develop into a new person.
So I see a question about my the pieces that I have behind here. Yes, they have a story, and yes, there are connections to Pitzer. So the frame behind me of Cesar Chavez was actually a gift from my oldest brother, and he gave it. It was very difficult to find. He gave it to me maybe 2 years ago as a gift. And at the top corner, it's Apple. It says "Think Different." It was a campaign after Apple was going through a very difficult time, and they went through a rebranding process, and they found inspiration from civil rights leaders. Being here at Pitzer, for me, born and raised in Oxnard, my parents actually marched with Cesar Chavez in Oxnard. So there are deep roots. We have some photos of some of my family members, and my brother actually owns a home where Cesar Chavez was housed. I'm going to start getting emotional. Where he was housed and protected when they were marching. And these Dolores Huerta images here were a gift, a personal gift from, I'm born and raised in Oxnard, and one of the Board of Trustees members there wanted to make sure that I had them as a gift from Oxnard, and to not forget where I come from. And here at Pitzer, the strong relationship that the college, because of some of our esteemed faculty, I'll tell you, our faculty emeriti, Jose Calderon, who I'm sure you will get to know soon. He was a beloved friend of Cesar Chavez's, and here at Pitzer, because of the relationship with the family, every year he has taken a group of students to a retreat in Adelanto, at the gravesite of Cesar Chavez, where they did a lot of organizing. And we have roses from his gravesite here planted at Pitzer to symbolize that longstanding relationship and the deep roots and commitment. And Dolores Huerta was our featured commencement speaker about 2 years ago. And I had the honor of being able to be her personal guide throughout that entire day. And it was a beautiful experience. And she absolutely fell in love with our landscape.
Thanks for sharing. I never knew of the history behind, the pictures, even though I see them all the time. So I appreciate you sharing.
Yeah, Cesar Chavez, basically, we got work to do. We sure do in our nation right now.
That we do. Here's a question. What's a typical Friday night like at Pitzer?
Wow. Well, and I know Olivia's on here. I can tell you because I live here on campus, it is very active. Our students, we are a residential college, and so there is life that happens, whether it's late night programming. Traditionally, we usually have shared large scale 5C programs. Again, as mentioned earlier, we are working on doing the best that we can to plan for, what type of size of a scaled program are we able to host at the college. And so there are shared experiences that often we rotate across colleges to host all students at events. And sometimes our students choose to maybe go to a program at Pomona College or an event. It may be, a student-led initiative or something sponsored by the college. Some students may go, to Joshua Tree, for the weekend to, go hike and gaze at the stars and soak in all the cacti and landscape out there. It really depends on what your interest is. Some students may choose to check out one of our Pitzer vans and maybe head down to Los Angeles and, eat their heart out through, the different amazing food options that are just a few miles away. So it really just depends. I often see students going on runs. I will tell you that breakfast at McConnell on Sunday is a must. From, that the thing is with living here, students have taught me a lot. And so I trust their judgment, believe me.
That's definitely on my list too.
How can PZ students meet other 5C students? I think, again, I go back to, you know, take that risk of stepping out of your comfort zone. You know, go attend a program, you know, in your classes too, you're going to engage with your peers. I recognize that, you know, social media is so important, you know, for students as a way of connection, and it has even become more so during this time. So, you know, keep up with, you know, all of the social media handles and know about what programs are up and coming. That's where you'll find probably the latest updates, especially from student clubs and organizations. But don't be afraid to go check out an opportunity. I also encourage you to also take a moment to check in with, you know, if there's faculty or staff that, you know what, you just want to check in. You never know what opportunity you might walk out with. And you never know if you might walk out of that door with a mentor, and that might be a lifetime mentor who can connect you to other communities or people who maybe share some of your same interests. I would say connect with your RA. They're a wonderful resource, your academic guide, your orientation leader. You're going to get to know so many people along your journey. Stay connected with them and, you know, give things a chance.
How about what advice would you give first year students? I'll let you go first.
Okay. You know, in this time, I know that you all have been home for over a year. Most of you at home. I know there's going to be a transition, an even greater transition, because, you know, you've been home for longer periods of time than we wouldn't experience, you know, the separation from family in a normal environment. And so I know it's going to take a lot of courage. And we know that we are here to support you. And it's okay to talk about not being okay. I think is something that lean into community to each other, because guess what? I think a lot of students are going to be navigating, you know, the challenges of leaving home after being so close to your family for so long. And I know for me, as a first generation Latina, how hard it was to leave home, even though I only lived a few miles away, you know, from the school that I went to. And so I can only imagine what that transition may be like, or even anticipating that. I think be yourself. You know, each and every one of you have so much incredible potential, but we also believe in your value. We believe in what you bring to the table, what you have to offer. You know, it is an honor to even think about you joining us, and how we know that just by your presence and who you are and what we know about you, that you will continue to help us to transform our community. Not only that, but bring life to our core values in and out of the classroom. And so engage with faculty, engage with staff members. There's so many caring persons, and really try to leverage opportunities. Think about, you know, what you're going to say yes to, and do it intentionally. But know that there's so many opportunities that are going to be available to you. Check out the sponsor and peer mentor programs. I would encourage you to take advantage of that. And take a leap of faith. Take that chance on yourself, because you're worth it.
Those are some really great points. Let's see, did you leave anything else? That I think you had some really great points. One thing I would add is to be uncomfortable, right? And be okay with being uncomfortable, because with discomfort comes growth. And this is the time that you'll experience the most growth, which is the best part of being in college, is to really kind of grow. So in addition to all of the things that Dean Vasquez said, I certainly would say be uncomfortable, and then underscore the point that we are all here to make sure that you are successful. So please use us, right? This is what we're here to do, is to help you through this time. So when things get tough, find one of us, all of us, because we're here to make sure that you are successful.
And I would say leave space for grace. And I say that for yourself and your self-care and your resilience, but also for others, okay? You know, we're all learning and growing together.
Those are some great advice. Thank you guys so much. As a last question, what's your favorite thing about Pitzer, or where's your favorite place on campus? And I know, Miriam, you haven't been on campus when the students are on, but I don't know if you have one yet.
Well, my favorite thing is certainly the students, right? Because that's why we're all here. My favorite place, I don't know yet, just like what I've seen. Dean Vasquez's office, because there's candy.
Yes, there is. I would say right now in a time of COVID, one of the favorite things that I've loved is, you know, where I live in my apartment. I live in the first year residence hall. I have had a multitude of birds that come, mockingbirds, hummingbirds, and sometimes it's incredible, the beautiful sounds. Sometimes I can have maybe up to 50 or 60 little baby hummingbirds. It's like a sanctuary for them. And it is just gorgeous to see the landscape for me. My favorite place on campus, my goodness, I have to admit, and I'm really being authentic from the heart, when I can go into a space where I see student life and community in action, it makes my heart happy. That is the heartbeat of Pitzer College. And when we see, you know, programs where we have our facility staff, our faculty, our staff, and our students and leaders from Student Senate and Identity Board coming together to honor our workers, or to bring even family members to celebrate student success, what greater power is there than that?
I totally agree. And I know everyone at the college right now is working hard on our reopening plans to bring our students back on campus and have our community together once again. Did not know there was candy at your office. I'll definitely be visiting Scott Hall more often now. Thank you both so much. And thank you for everyone who joined our program today on student affairs and orientation and housing. Have a great rest of your Friday evening, and we'll see you tomorrow for our college co-pilot program. Invite your parents to come and join you. We have a tour to take many of the parents who haven't participated on the virtual tours yet to see Pitzer in person. Virtually, to see Pitzer virtually. And we also have a faculty panel where we have 4 great professors who will be joining us to share about their classroom experience, what they like about teaching at Pitzer, as well as a student life panel for parents to meet some current Pitzer students. We'll see y'all tomorrow.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.